What's going on, guys? It's Coach Noop back in the building with another one. As usual, it's going to be jam packed full of jewels. And your time is always appreciated because you can be doing anything but you hear me checking out these reviews, man. You already know it's another wild one. It's about an 80-year-old man who kills an 11-year-old. But before he did that, and he killed his wife. Let's get to it.
I think there were about 10, 11 people in the house. So we feel that his intentions were to kill everybody at that residence at that time. It was unprovoked, senseless, and something like this should never occur.
Well, that was Sumter County Chief Deputy Hampton Gardner. They held a press conference in Sumter County just a couple of hours ago, and he is reacting to what was a horrific night in Sumter County that left an 11-year-old girl dead. Gardner says a neighbor, 80-year-old Arthur Leonard, went to a neighbor's house and opened fire, killing 11-year-old Ashley McFarland. Deputies say Leonard also admitted when they arrived on the scene at that second house to killing his own wife earlier in the night.
Hey, mental health, physical health, spiritual health, decision making, man. And the cop said it was for no reason, like he just did it. I mean, there's always a reason, people just don't do stuff. And, if there's not an apparent reason right then and there, then it's usually for something like a problem that they have with themselves. Because people do stuff out of, spite sometimes. And like I said, they could be mad at themselves, so they take it out on other people instead of working on themselves and figuring out, what's wrong with them or dealing with trauma from the childhood or, it could be a number of things, man. But you know, I get what he's saying. Like, there wasn't any reason for that to happen. But, it was definitely a reason behind it, man.
Our News 19's Shannon Taylor has been working this story all day and has details on what law enforcement says led up to this senseless tragedy.
So we feel that his intentions were to kill everybody at that residence at that time. It was unprovoked, senseless, and something like this should never occur.
Chief Deputy Hampton Gardner with the Sumter Sheriff's Office said 80-year-old Arthur Reuben Leonard confessed to the killing of his 76-year-old wife, then shooting and killing 11-year-old Ashley McFarland. Sumter County deputies say they responded to shots fired on Floyd Drive Wednesday night, where witnesses say they saw Leonard enter the house armed with an AR-style rifle in home invasion style, then opened fire and struck Ashley. Chief Deputy Gardner says Leonard was a neighbor and had an ongoing dispute with the people who lived on Floyd Drive about targeting practice taking place in their backyard.
All right, man. So him killing his wife, bro, like that was just crazy. And he snapped after, what I'm saying, when he was doing that, because he didn't stop there. After that, he was going to handle all the little stuff that he had a problem with. You know what I'm saying? So he had some type of problem with his wife, and then he had some type of problem with the neighbors. And usually, like I said, what that means is you got a problem with yourself, man. It's something that you're not taking care of. It's something that you're not doing. You're avoiding the bigger problem, which is, sometimes it's you. It's not everybody else, man. And you have to be able to recognize and realize, when you are the problem. And, it takes a lot of mental strength, mental health, spiritual health, your conscious, because some people ignore their consciousness, but you shouldn't do that because it ends up to you making irrational decisions when you try to blame everybody else. and physical awareness too, bro. Just running around shooting people, like that's crazy.
Apparently didn't take to them firing in the backyard. Nowhere near his yard. Again, he's through a wood line on another street, so he's been going over and talking to them about the shooting. Um, of course, on last evening, I don't think there was any shooting that occurred. He just did not appreciate it.
And there's always gonna be stuff that you don't appreciate, man. And then it's not even on your block. So could you hear it? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Targeting practice, of course, but you know, if you go over there and you talk to somebody, hey man, can you at least do it around these certain times or something like that? And then you come to some type of agreement, okay, but if you just go to somebody and you bitching and you trying to get them to stop doing something where they pay their money at, where they pay rent, where they live, bro, they don't have to, man. Even if they do something that bothers you, and by you not even living on that block, it shouldn't even matter what they're doing, man. You were just in somebody's business to the point where you made it bother you, bro. I could see if they were like throwing parties every night, loud music, the block filled up with cars, people all up and down the street to the point where, all the neighbors had some type of problem with it, but it doesn't seem like that. It just seems like it was just one dude, man. And, that ties back into mental health too, bro. Like, you got to be able to worry about yourself first, man. And you can't worry about the things that you're not able to control. Only worry about what you can control, and the things that are out of your control. That's just what it is, man. You don't worry about stuff like that, and you don't let stuff like that get to you because it's going to drive you crazy. And we all see what happened. This dude was in his feelings, and a number of stuff he felt like drove him crazy, and he let his feelings get the best of him, and he reacted out of that, which is messed up. Because you're supposed to be able to control your feelings as a man, bro. You don't let shit get to you, and if you do, you go and you release those feelings in a positive way. You see, it's a basketball hoop right there, or he was 80 years old, so he could have hopped on a bicycle or did something, man. It's a lot of stuff to keep you busy at 80 years old, bro, and that's what he should have been focusing on for real.
Point, investigators said he also killed his wife. Why is still unclear. Carol B. Gilliard, the next door neighbor of Leonard, recalls her shock from the shooting.
It's unclear because he had a problem with himself, and he took all his problems out on everybody else, man.
Started looking out the window and there was so much commotion going on. It was so unnerving and nerve wracking to see all that going on right in our backyard. So we stood and we watched for a while and we saw some more neighbors came out, and then all of a sudden we saw the young lady that lives in that house. She was hollering and crying, laying on the porch, hollering and crying. I said, oh my God, someone has gotten hurt in that house. Others laid out flowers at the home in honor of the young life taken too soon.
It was sad. I don't know the people, and I feel for them. Um, no one deserves to die that young. And that's why, since I have the flowers, I brought her pink. Pink and white for a little girl. And hopefully it won't help now, maybe later.
Yeah, it is messed up, and it is too young for somebody like that to die, especially by somebody so old who's supposed to have their mental right by then. It wasn't like this dude had some type of problem with his mental, bro. It was just he was in his feelings because he was old enough to have a problem with what they were doing and try to, confront them and control the situation. And he had enough sense to the point where he knew what he was doing when he went over there with an AR and he fired shots in the house. And like the police said, it was 11 people in there. So he definitely knew what he was doing, man. And he was in his feelings when he did it. So he wasn't thinking clear when he did it, but he was thinking enough out of anger and things like that to do something that didn't make any sense at that time. And, it's too late now to take anything back like that. That's why it's so, important to always think about what you're doing. And we talked about metacognition, which is thinking about your thoughts, and a few other things, man, to keep your mental right, bro, at all times. And this is why it's so important to do that.
Leonard was taken to the hospital for injuries. Upon release, he will be booked at the Sumter County Sheriff's Detention Center.
We will prosecute this gentleman to the fullest. We are going to prosecute him to the fullest. Again, there was no sense in having this occur. It was unprovoked, and so we're going to seek prosecution to the fullest in this incident.
Reporting in Sumter, Shannon Taylor with News 19, WLTX.
Oh, just heartbreaking. Leonard has been charged with 1 count of murder by the Sheriff's Department for the 11-year-old girl, but obviously more charges will follow. That's what deputies said today, including attempted murder charges as well for opening fire inside that home.
Yeah, it was 11 people in there, bro. And then on top of that, murdering your wife, you got them charges coming. Dude's just racking up charges, man. He wasn't thinking, bro. It wasn't worth it at the end of the day. And he's lucky he got just some minor bumps and bruises after that. You know what I'm saying? And it's just too old to be doing something like that, bro. Really, any age to be taking, anybody's life when you old enough and you got common sense, bro, to know that the difference between, right and wrong. And we're supposed to be helping younger people, bro, in making better decisions, especially at that age. You know what I'm saying? People might have been looking up to him as like a grandfather type figure or something, bro. And, usually get game from the old heads and stuff like that, man. So when they make decisions like that, you see how it affects them and everyone around them, bro. And anyways, man, it's Coach Noob. Like, share, comment, subscribe if you're digging this kind of content. And your time is always appreciated because you could be doing anything, but you're here with me checking out these reviews, man. Let me know what you think about this one, what the guy did, how you feel about it. Until next time, I'm out.